Hey guys, it's Todd from Like-Minded Lunatics, bringing you another drink, play, swear. It's all we do around here. You know what? Even if we had our own bat cave with all those cool gadgets and the police blotter and all that stuff, it's really still all we would do around here. Doesn't matter. I'm not Batman. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to Drink, Play, Swear. Like-Minded Lunatics is not just Drink, Play, Swear, though plenty of good stuff on the channel there. My buddy and writing partner Mark Gifford does the Friday night videos. Go check out the Friday night videos. They're a good time. And hey, I was just on a couple of them, so that's a good time, especially as we wrapped up Halloween. Now here we are into November, change of gears, but we're still playing games. So what do we do here at Drink, Play, Swear? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's not complicated. Play a game, usually a classic one, pair it with a beverage, and I tell you a story. What do we got today? That's right, it's Batman on the NES. Batman. Pairing it with another beautiful dark creation like the Batman. This is Jim Beam and Coke. Get yourself something, please. All right, change of pace the last couple of weeks. Hanging out at Mark's, doing some epic Halloween content. If you have not checked it out yet, we did so much content in October. And if you love Halloween and you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, you really should. 18 videos on that playlist of Halloween-themed goodness, from Drink, Play, Swears to Friday night videos to Monday matchups to Like-Minded Lunatics Try. It was a great time. Speaking of a great time, you know this game? This game, I've been playing some bad ones, right? I've been playing some bad ones lately. This game is awesome. Now, let me try to remember. Okay, I see. I was cycling through my weapons here. This game I had as a kid, and is one of those games that I played a ton of. You know, when you're young and you only have so many games, you know, because what, you get a game for Christmas, a game for your birthday maybe. So most of the time with this system, I had, you know, between 5 and a dozen games, and Batman was one of them. I loved this game. As you can tell, it came out around the time of the Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, Tim Burton epic movie that we all loved. And you know, you can like the modern ones more. Everyone has their favorite Batman movie, but you know, this one was so big, so epic, and actually Batman plays into my story for the day, perhaps in an unexpected way. But we'll get there. I loved this game, still do. The funny thing about this game is that it doesn't, even though it's around the movie and you do get a couple of images from the movie, the guys who made this game didn't have much knowledge of the movie. So the backgrounds, the levels you're navigating, the enemies you're facing on a regular basis don't really have much to do with the movie. You might think, well, that's disappointing, but this game knocks it out of the park. Listen to the soundtrack, dude. It's a great soundtrack, compelling soundtrack. The gameplay is awesome, and I don't know if you can tell if you've been paying attention, but this game is a lot like Ninja Gaiden in the climbing and the jumping, and the fact that even though this is a simple 2-button game, right, the jumping is actually fairly sophisticated, whereas if you tap, you can do a little jump, and if you mash the button, look at that, nice big jump. See the difference there? Just to us, that was huge. I know the modern controllers with a gazillion buttons, much more complex, and I get it. But for the simplicity of the NES, this playing style is fairly complicated. Love this game. All right, look, first little boss. All you gotta do is hide over here. The wonderful thing about the NES is so many of the games is just pattern-based. You know exactly how he's gonna behave. And I mean, I've played this a million times. So some games on here, you can see me struggling with the first boss or maybe never beating them. I'm going to do okay on this. All right. What are we getting into for the story today? Well, I want to talk about some college experiences. Before I talk to you about my time at Texas Lutheran University, go Bulldogs, hanging out with my buddies making movies. You can check that one out, making short films and feature-length movies. And then I even told a great story. Well, I think it's a great story about that vampire bar experience with those guys years later. You can check that one out right there. The vampire bar story is a good time. This one is not one of those stories about me and my buddies doing dumb stuff, believe it or not. This one is about a favorite professor of mine and one of my experiences in his classes. We all have those experiences in college or in school period of memorable teachers, right? People who left an impression on you. And today it's about one of them. So when I went to school, I was a lit major, English major, and taking as many English courses as I could, but I would also end up often taking communications courses because I was interested in film and I was interested in broadcasting and all of that stuff. So it came to be that my junior year, my, what do you call him, your advisor? My advisor told me that I was 2 classes away from getting a communications minor, like by accident. He's like, all you need to do is take Intro to Communications, which is a freshman course, and then just take any other comm class and you would have accidentally gotten yourself a communications minor. So I thought, okay, great. So I took Intro to Communications. Dr. Bishop, totally awesome. Great teacher. But sorry, Dr. Bishop, this one's not about you today. You are also great. But this one is about Dr. Steve Roman, my favorite professor from undergrad. Now, I heard about taking classes from him from my roommate, the baseball player. I've talked to you about making movies with him in the past. He said, yeah, you got to take a class with him. Any class it is, it doesn't matter. It's going to be a good class. Just take whatever he's teaching. He was teaching communications in business. Well, that sounded dry, and I didn't have any aspirations to work in the business world. But I don't know. I thought it might, be good to, know how to write a memo or, some kind of office professional document. Because honestly, I thought I was going to be the next great American novelist. I did not have a practical plan for work. So I thought, well, if he's the best professor there is here, and, he's, I hear he's really clever, entertaining, intelligent, crafts these courses well, let's do it. Even though I don't care about the subject matter specifically. And the course was actually pretty good. And it wasn't just about learning to write memos and office writing. It was, the textbook that is, was about sort of how to have an office where people had good morale and treating people, different kinds of people with respect. And he's gonna smoke me. I love that. And you see this in the game. When you die, you burst into flames and a little Batman symbol as you go out. Pretty cool. Let me pause for a second. Give you some attention. Beverage some attention. Here's to it. Epic music, right? Don't you think? Oh, sorry. Here we go. All right. So, took this class. It was good. Learning a lot, and you could tell that Dr. Vroman really liked what he did because every class period felt like it was rehearsed. He was a great public speaker. You could tell that the syntax and diction of what he was saying was so expertly put together. You could imagine him practicing this thing at home before he came to work. Only you knew he taught 3 or 4 different courses at a time, so there'd be no time for that, But it felt like George Carlin, to be honest with you. And that is one of my favorite comedians who you can also tell really thought about diction, syntax, intonation, patterns of speech, volume, highness, your register, all kinds of things. That storytelling, joke telling, and teaching could be musical, even if there's no song playing. And so you could tell that what he was saying was as important as how he was saying it. I'm getting smoked here. Ugh. Sorry, I'm excited about the story here. I am going to continue because this is a great game. But let me stop and give some attention to you and the beverage and the story. The final exam for this business and communications course was the part that I'll never forget about taking him. He said, your final exam for this class is going to be a one-on-one role-playing encounter where you sign up for a time to come and sit with me. And you will be playing a managerial role in this scenario, and I need you to fire me. And we were like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, so you'll fire me. And see, the challenge of this is that he was probably going to try and negotiate, try and barter, try to get his job back. He might be furious, he might be crying, and you were going to have to, using the communication methods from the course and from the textbook, you were going to have to let him down easy. And what you were being graded on is, were you able to fire him? And did you do it in a humane way? Okay? So you have to be firm because he's going to try to weasel his way out of it and keep his job and come back tomorrow. But you had to be a human. You had to treat him as such. So it was going to be a challenge. And he said that we were going to do this according to principles of comedy and what's it called when people get on stage together and they just riff, they just improv, right? The rules of comedy improv, okay? And the rules of comedy improv are this. Said succinctly, the biggest rule is called the yes and concept. And what that means is that in improv, if someone asserts something as true, you have to go with it. So let's say you're doing comedy improv with someone else, one other person. You're on stage together. Nothing is written, right? And one of you is handed a hat and the other is handed a cane. And then you are told that you are at a zoo. Go. All right? So the one with the hat maybe puts the hat on and says, Mr. Jacobson, I need to speak with you. All right. The rule of improv, yes and, is that second person has to affirm what the first person has said. They has to go along with it, that he can't contradict it or just say, well, that's not my name or something, that he has to go with it. Now, he is who the first person has said he is, and they're in this scenario as they're sort of building the logic around it. So my professor said, Dr. Vroman said, so if one of us asserts that something is true about the workplace we're in or something that has happened in the past, we must respect that and work with it. Now, this guy's smart. So I know that when I try to go in for my final exam to fire him, that he's going to have come up with all kinds of ideas and that I need to be prepared. The one thing he told us that we could be in charge of was what the workplace did. That is, if we sold a product, we could decide what the product was to sell. So I decided that we were going to be, for mine, when I came in to fire him, we were going to be selling toys, that we were a toy manufacturer. So I show up on the day. I've got something hidden in my bag that I've prepared beforehand. I'll tell you what that something is, but he doesn't know at the time. That is, Dr. Vroman doesn't know. I'm just sitting around my apartment and I'm talking to my buddy about this presentation, about this final exam. I'm nervous. I hadn't taken him before. I'm pretty intimidated to do a one-on-one role-playing experience with him. He has all kinds of knowledge of business communication and he's just a smart guy. I said, you got any advice for me? Well, my buddy, the baseball player, I've talked about him in the past. He had taken him many times. He says, what Dr. Vroman likes is creativity. If he can tell where you're coming from right away, if he's seen what you got to offer a million times, he's not going to be impressed. The best you're going to do is a B. You got to do something creative and you got to take a chance. You got to go big with him. He gave me an example. He said, one time I was taking a class with Dr. Vroman and we were to give presentations. And in the presentation, we were supposed to have a visual aid, and that visual aid was supposed to have some kind of chart or graph. And my buddy at the time, the baseball player, said to Dr. Vroman, can I be exempt from that visual aid? My particular presentation topic does not use data. I'm not going to be able to incorporate very well a chart or a graph. And Dr. Vroman says, well, you're going to have to be creative because that component of the assignment is worth X amount of points. And so if you're not interested in getting the points, I guess don't do the visual aid. Well, the baseball player is obviously interested in the points. He's an A student, so he's got to figure this out. So he shows up on the day of, I'm doing awful here. He shows up on the day of with a poster board with a graph on it, pie graph. Everybody loves a pie graph. And he puts the poster board up on the board, but with the back to the audience, so they can't see what's on the front of it. and he gives his presentation. And halfway through the presentation, I can't remember what the joke was, but he tells a bad joke. And it pertains to his presentation. Ooh, look, boss time. I'm going to pause it. It pertains to his presentation. He tells the bad joke. It gets a couple of like chuckles because it's supposed to be a bad joke, right? And Dr. Vroman laughs at the joke. He thinks it was like well put in. So my buddy used this time to turn around the poster board, and it was a pie chart with a 70% and a 30%, 2 pieces. And he says, and as you can tell from this graph, I am 70% joking and 30% serious. Big laugh from Dr. Vroman, full credit for the points. And see, my buddy was being sarcastic because he thought it was BS that he had to have this chart or graph since his particular approved topic didn't have anything to do with data. And so it was the creativity and taking a chance that Professor Vroman liked. So this is the context by which I have an idea for what to bring with me to this improv crazy scenario where I'm to fire my professor. So I decide that we work at a toy company, as I've said, and that I'm going to fire this person. And I know that we have to use the rules of improv. So my first thought is that when I get in there, I have to establish as many rules as possible in my favor. And very quickly, because I know he's smart and he's going to be able to outthink me. That's just how it is. And so I'm going to have to, final part. This is I'm going to pause this. The 3-part boss on this level. So the way it's set up is he's got us in a conference room to come meet him one-on-one for this role-playing encounter. I come in, I sit down, and I am to sit at the boss's desk, right? So his desk. And then he says, he signs me in. All right, any questions, Todd? I say, no, I'm okay. And he steps out so that when he steps back in a moment, he'll be in character. All right, so the first thing I do is I decide to disarm him with a little humor. So he comes in, and I go, Linda, have a seat. A little smile from him, and he sits down. I've established that I'm in charge, and then all of a sudden he's Linda. Okay, he's Linda. So we get started. I gotta fire this guy. And I've got something hidden in my bag that he doesn't know about it. All right, I told you I would tell you. All right. When I decided we worked at a toy factory, I wanted to bring a prop, and a prop that would make it clear that he wasn't doing a good job, see? Or that Linda wasn't doing a good job. Well, somebody in our apartment had a baby doll toy that we had made look like a zombie, and it was like a prop someone had used at Halloween. So it's like a cute baby doll, but zombified, ugly, painted up face. I cut along the top of the baby's head, and I gave him a lobotomy, right? Took that off, the little top of his head, and then I got a Batman action figure. I told you Batman was coming back into the story. Batman action figure, ripped his legs off so he's just a torso and arms and a head. And I put it inside of the baby head. So that it looked like, and his arms are sticking out of the baby's head. So it looks like he's sort of I don't know, living in the head, or that he's perhaps, if you're to imagine a real action figure that comes out like this, that maybe it's a vehicle, okay? And he's controlling this thing. All right. So it's in my bag. Dr. Vroman doesn't know. I get in there, and oh gosh, I'm nervous about this level. This is hard enough. This level is, I don't even care. I don't even care about this level because I want to share this story with you. So we had the interview, and Dr. Vroman's got me on the ropes for quite a while, because as I said, he's a clever guy. He's using all kinds of manipulation about how he just needs one more chance, and he's got kids, and all this stuff, right? Well, I'm reeling a little bit. I'm not sure what to do. And finally, he gives me an in. He gives me an opportunity. He says, it's not fair that you're firing me because you didn't give me enough opportunities for growth. So that's when I say, you may wish that you'd had more opportunities for growth. But when we put you in leadership positions at this company, you failed to achieve. I reach into my bag. I pull out Batman sitting in dead baby head. And I set it on the desk. And I said, when we put you in charge of the Batman line, Batman in dead baby head? Not what we had in mind. He put his head down. He smiled. And he didn't bother finishing the role playing. He said, damn it, Todd, get the hell out of here. You got an A. I was so thrilled because his damn it, Todd, was affirmation that I had done something creative. I'd played by the rules. And besides the fact that I have no possibility to win this. Unlike the role-playing thing, I have no possibility to win this because I'm out of ammunition. So I'm gonna allow myself to be murdered here in a second. But his pushing me to be creative and to take chances and not to just do the basics and just do what the book said, although I read the book, made me realize that he inspired me to be better and to be more clever and to be more funny than I thought I could be. And it was one of the moments that made me realize that if I wasn't going to be a great American novelist someday, I could be, that I kind of knew I had a job in mind, a vocation, and that was being a professor. If I could be half of what he was, I'd be pretty damn good. And so, 20 years later, 20 years after that encounter in business and communications class with Dr. Vroman, I was thrilled to receive my first real concrete evidence that I was a good teacher, I was a good educator, and that is that I won the President's Distinguished Teaching Award at my university, and I have Dr. Vroman to thank for it. So as I go into the fiery depths of the afterlife as Batman, I will just say to Dr. Vroman, thanks for being an inspiration and for expecting more from us, and thanks for showing us that like a nerd, which me and my buddies all were, could do cool stuff and become a professor who was so well prepared, clever, intelligent, and funny. So thanks, Dr. Vroman. Boy, I wish I could have beat that boss there, but whatever. Thanks, Dr. Vroman, and thank you guys for hanging out. Whoa, look at that weirdness you got on the screen there with my beverage, and I got a lot of beverage left. So let's wrap it up. Thanks for being here today for some memories and some Batman and Dead Baby Head. You probably won't see on the I was going to say on the Toys R Us shelves. Toys R Us doesn't exist anymore. On your Amazon cart. But it wasn't a bad idea. It got me an A in business and communications. Thanks, Dr. Vroman, and thanks to you guys, like-minded lunatics, for hanging out with us in between now and the next time I talk to you. I am Toddy, Mac Wright, Scottish 37%. See ya.